Good. Just if you just talk us through the first couple weeks that you've been here, what the adjustment's been like, and what have the workouts been like for you?
The adjustment has been fine. Really just been trying to get myself into the college mindset. You're independent now, so you got to get yourself up, get ready, be on time to this meeting, be on time to the weight room. Everything is really just being about having self-urgency and self-dependency. And the workouts, they've been great. Coach Coleman and Coach Storms, the weight room is great. They push us every day. We're standing on the decline, the foundation of the program, and even the workouts on the field is the same thing. Coach Shannon pushing us, Coach, all the way to Coach A-Rod, Coach Malik, everybody they're all pushing us and wants us to be the best player we can be.
All right, we'll go to Jack, second row on your left.
Hey Dylan, it looked like as soon as Florida State offered you, things turned really quickly, and your commitment, the visit and stuff like that. Talk about the relationship that you built with them, and I know from your junior year when you were injured, you had that really big senior season. I guess talk about the relationship you built with Florida State, and what motivated you to come here.
Well, actually, since a kid, Florida State's always been one of my dream schools. It's Florida State. Who would want to be here? But even my junior year, my spring, Coach CT, he came and watched me practice. That was my first actual. Well, I didn't get to talk to him. He wanted to meet with one of my coaches. I was in a National Honor Society award inductee, so I had missed him, so I didn't get to talk to him. So he came and watched me practice. It was around 5 of the playoffs. We played Argyle. He actually came to the game too, and I got to talk to him a bit, and he texted me actually after, like 2 days after Christmas, and he asked, have I signed yet? I said, no, sir. And I just took off from there. That's when I started talking to Coach Shannon. We talked pretty much every day, probably 2, 3. I could say maybe 4 times. We talked a lot. We really built that communication and that relationship. And I trusted him. He trusted me. And he told me, you were handpicked. So that means we feel like we could play in this program. And that the visit really just solidified everything. It was everything that I thought it was, and it was just I couldn't pass up on this opportunity.
All right, next will be Brendan, front row on your left.
Hey Dylan.
How you doing?
Good, thanks. Can you walk us through when you got that text message from Coach Thompson a couple days after Christmas? Like, what's going through your mind there when you realized that my recruitment might be taking off? Again, excited, nervous?
Actually, you would have thought I was excited. I was kind of nervous. I was like, man, because when he texted me, it took me a while to text back, because I ended up screenshotting the message. I sent it to my mom and my dad. I was like, hey, Coach TT from Florida State just texted me. They're like, text him back. So I texted him back, and we were talking, and that's when he reached out and gave me Coach Shannon's number, and once he gave me that, the rest was just history. Like I said, the communication was there. It was great. But actually, when I was talking to Coach Shannon throughout that recruiting process, the first time we actually sat and talked football was in the home visit. He would call and just say, how are you doing today, or how are you doing mentally? He wanted to know me as Dylan Brown-Turner, not as Dylan Brown-Turner, the football player. He wanted to know me, my family. He actually, we still reaches out to my dad, my mom, my uncles. If I'm not mistaken, I think he may have reached out to my grandma before. So, the relationship with him and the communication goes deep. So, it couldn't have been better.
We'll come back to Ira on your right.
Obviously, we hear about high school football in Florida all the time, but it's got a great reputation where you're from too. Could you just tell us what it's like playing football over there in Texas?
The other guys on the team might get me for this, but Texas is the best football state. But when you think about high school football, the Cali, Texas, Florida, Georgia. But to me, it's just, Texas is just different. The lights, the crowd, the stadium, the noise, the band, it just, you know, like state championship game, playing in Cowboy Stadium is, I couldn't even tell you how many people in there. It was so loud. Can't even hear the play call. Lights shining bright. So it's just, the stage, I feel like it's just way bigger and better. Everything's bigger and better than Texas. So, I mean, it's just no other way to put it.
We'll go in the back corner for Aslan.
When it comes to recruiting, I know you guys try to say that things like the offers and the stars don't matter. But, you know, on our network, we don't even have the photos you wanted. You were kind of a late name that rise in the process. Just how kind of validating, fulfilling was it that this program, a top 10 program that's won national championships, saw talent in you and wanted to bring you here? How does that feel to just kind of know that, you know, they noticed that and you maybe understand?
Really, it really stood out to me a lot, but this kind of goes back to my junior year. I've always had the talent, I don't think I've ever questioned my talent of the level of ball I could play. I'm a ball player, that's what I do, I'm a football player, so my skill set, I don't think I've never questioned it. It was just unfortunate circumstance. My junior year, I played 3 games, but within that 3 games, I led my district, not only the district, but it may have been I was maybe top 5 in the state within those first 3 games. My first game of my season, I had 22 tackles against Duncanville, which is a top 3 team in Texas, top national team. So my skill set's always been there. It was just, you know, due to an unfortunate circumstance, I just missed my season with a leg injury, which caused me to sit out, you know, just the remainder of the season. But seeing them reach out and giving me that late offer and signing me and bringing me into the family, it really stood out to me a lot, knowing that they saw something in me. But that really stood out to me a lot.
Okay, go back to Brendan, front row on your left.
Can you walk us through your game, what you do well as a player, your strengths?
I'm more of I would say a do-it-all. I'm a downhill player. I can play the pass if you need me to. I can blitz off the edge, blitz in the A, B, C, any gap you need me to. I try to model my game after like the Cowboys rookie pickup, Marvin Overshawn. I watch a lot of Isaiah Simmons, just his versatility. He's able to move around different positions. I like watching other linebackers, even older linebackers like Ray Lewis. You know, linebackers like that have that experience and that skill set. And nowadays, you know, you're not really getting the 250, 260 linebackers no more. You're getting the 215s, the 220s, the 230s that can run 4.3s, 4.4s, and you can put them anywhere on the defense. Swiss Army knife, basically. That's what you're getting now.
All right, we'll go back to Jack, second row on the left.
If you could, you know, describe the time, you know, in your junior season when you were injured. You mentioned you didn't doubt your skill set and what you were able to accomplish and stuff like that. You know, at the time that you were injured, you know, talk about what kept you motivated. I guess how rewarding did it feel that you were able to, you know, get this offer and eventually head here?
Of course, anytime you're out with an injury or, you know, at the moment, you're gonna be down on yourself. You're gonna say a lot of things that you shouldn't say, like, why me? You should never say that, but it's just adversity. Adversity is the biggest thing. That's what they teach us here. Everybody's gonna have adversity, but what are you gonna do to push through and keep going and don't give up on yourself? Because you're gonna have a lot of days where, even now in college, you're gonna wanna give up. You're not gonna wanna go to that meeting. You're not gonna wanna go to the weight room. But what are you gonna do to push through? And that was just my biggest mindset. My mom, my dad, and the rest of my family were just telling me, keep pushing through no matter what. It's gonna get rough. You're gonna have your days. You're gonna have your ups and downs. But just keep your head straight and just keep pushing.
We'll come front row on your right to Kurt.
you talked about Texas. I think you mentioned Duncanville. I think a few guys on the team played there. I guess I don't know if familiarity you had with them, or I mean, what's it mean? I mean, how much does it help you? Two other guys coming from your area. I mean, you're coming a ways from Dallas to come here.
Jarrell and Herbert. Yeah, I kind of seen where that was going. We definitely had our conversations. I guess I give them the credit of beating us my junior year, but it's real cool having some guys from Texas that kind of know that Texas standard and what it means to represent Texas. And you're in Florida now, so now the Florida guys, you're in their territory, so now you gotta show them, what the Texas football is like, But it's great having guys from Texas, and I actually knew them prior me even getting the offer. So once I got the offer, I was already kind of contacting them, and my dad and Jarrell's dad talk quite often, so that way it kind of just hit off perfectly.
Back to Aslan.
I don't know if you go into the playbook or watch a lot of film of this team, but playing linebacker in a largely 4-2-5 kind of scheme that Coach Moore likes to run here, how does that differ from what you did run? Is it easier for a linebacker when it's a 4-2-5? Less responsibilities, more responsibilities? Can you kind of maybe walk us through your perspective of what you'll have to do here?
So in my high school team, we ran something. We also ran a 4-2-5. So, but I kind of played. That Michael will, even sometimes the nickel position. So the concept of the 4-2-5, I understand it. But now in college, you're not using the same terminology. It's a lot of different ways that they want to, set up the defense, and just a different amount of looks, a lot of more plays. It's just a lot of more technical things in college than it is in high school. That's one of the biggest differences.
All right, we'll come back to Ira, second row on your right.
It seems like, just listening to you talk about football, like you seem to think about it like from a mental aspect, not just physical aspect. Like how much did you have a chance to like study stuff in high school, or was it more just, get a quick scouting report and go play the game?
I definitely sat down with my linebacker coach in high school. We went over scouting reports. I would watch the running backs, linemen, receivers, quarterback, even the H-backs, tight ends. You really want to just scout your opponent, get a feel for who you're playing on. What is their strengths, what are their weaknesses, tendencies. But because football, 90% mental, 10% physical. So if you can play, you can play. That's just a given. But what are you doing extra outside of the game? How are you studying? How are you approaching your next opponent? That's just the biggest thing with me.
We'll go back to Aslan.
What have been your first impressions of guys like Tatum and Kalen, Deloach, whether it's off the field as just dudes or playing football through these summer workouts? What are your first impressions of some of these guys that are the leaders of the linebacker position?
I've been kind of going under Kalen Deloach, his wing. He's been kind of showing me the ropes. Whenever I have questions, I ask. But even off the field, they're still encouraging. They're great dudes on and off the field. But even in the meeting rooms, if I don't understand something, they may say, "Hey, after the meeting, come talk to me." But or just shoot me a text or something. We can chop it up and just talk and see where your head's at. Even on the field, like today, they were walking me and talking me through plays through 7-on-7 and stuff like that. So they really just been, showing me the ropes and how it's supposed to go.
You good? All right, thanks, Dylan.
Thanks, Dylan.
Thank you.